We'll move right to 2.0, signing of the warrants. Those have been passed around. And 3.0, adjustments to the agenda. I would like to make a friendly adjustment in the executive sessions, 12.0. So we'll do 12.1 for an executive session pursuant to negotiations. And can I have, is 4.0 approval of the minutes? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. 5.0, public comment. Do we have any today? Okay, thank you. That moves us right to our district reports. Caribou Regional Technology Center, extracurricular organization units. Mrs. White.
Good evening, and thank you for having us represented here tonight at this school board meeting. So I have great pride in what I see in the audience tonight, in our student body being represented here this evening. They look great. As you can see, this is typical for their behavior. They're very respectful young people, and so thank you to our students and our staff that are represented here tonight on behalf of Caribou Tech Center. So we're going to start with doing a little bit of an update. You're not going to hear a lot from me tonight. You're going to hear a lot from those in the room. So we're going to start with Skills USA, and I would ask that Christian, Caleb, and Cameron please come up. So I'd just like to start that this is the first year that Caribou Tech Center has had a chapter of Skills USA since 2018. And so we started the chapter as a result of, in my first year as being CTE director, Cameron coming to me and saying, hey, Mrs. White, like, why don't we have Skills USA at Caribou Tech Center? And although I couldn't make it happen for last year, I committed myself to Cameron last year that we would fix that for this year. And so we did. And so I'm going to ask that these three young people share a little bit about what their Skills USA experience has been thus far this year.
I'm Caleb Petra. I'm a senior at Caribou High School, and I'm currently enrolled in CDL at the Caribou Tech Center. I've been at Caribou Tech for 3 years. I took a break my sophomore year, but freshman year, I was enrolled in the exploratory program. I found great value in that program. It teaches you a lot of the basics. I mean, starting out on how to read a tape measure, finding the area, just basic, everyday use. You use that stuff every day. So that was my freshman year. My junior year, I took the fire science program and I obtained my Fire 1 and 2 certificate. And this year, about a month, I'll be getting my Class A CDL. So to go along with Tech Center, I'm in FFA and I also placed gold at the state level for the Skills USA. I competed in Job Skill Demonstration Open. So really you could have picked any job and any skill to go along with that job and demonstrate it. So I chose the 2-minute gear drill for the firefighting. It's a skill you have to master to get your Fire 1 and 2. So I went in, I completed it, and I got gold. So after winning on the state level, we move on to the national level, which is held at the end of June in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm excited to go to that. That'll be a great experience. It's a great opportunity. And I want to thank Ms. White for bringing us down to the States. Like I said, it was all around a great thing to have and a lot of value I find in that. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Cameron Rattler. I started 4 years ago as an exploratory as a freshman, and then I took agriculture as a sophomore. Junior year, I took my CDL and I obtained my CDL license. And this year, I'm dual enrolled in the auto body, which I hope to be a future career. I think it was last year or the year before, I had talked to Miss White, and like what she was telling you, and I had asked her, why don't we have skills? All these other schools have skills. Why does Caribou not have skills out of anybody? And so this year we ended up having skills, and we had about 31 people competed, and we had in total 13 people place. We had 3 golds, 6 silvers, and 4 bronzes out of all 31. So a little over a third of the people who competed, they got something. I think we should have had, obviously we can't go back, but I wish we would have had skills before. I think a lot of us would have benefited from it. We could have had, if we were freshmen, sophomores, then leading up to our senior years, it would have been more of a build up, kind of playing the field a little bit, which it's too bad, but it's all right though. If I wouldn't have been able to take, exploratory as a freshman, it would have set me off a little bit differently. It kind of like what Caleb was saying, it's like you learn your basic skills, reading a tape measure, knowing the area of a room, like just almost stuff you really might not use like to the teeth, but it's like you'll use it eventually. And then it helped me build up in the career of wanting to be an auto body tech. That's all I got. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christian Kelly. I'm a junior in Caribou High School. I started at the Tech Center 3 years ago when I got offered here by Miss Gorno and Miss Boaz to come join them at the Caribou Tech for exploratory, which was the only option we had at the time. So I was like, I gotta get out of the high school. So like nobody wants to sit there all day. And so they offered that. I went, did that. I'm like, all these programs look amazing. I want to be up here all 4 years of high school. So luckily they came to us end of the school year like, hey, you saw this freshman now can go do warehouse equipment, which is if you don't have your Class C driver's license, you couldn't do. But they were offering us to the freshmen that didn't anyways to go do it. So I'm like, that sounds fun. So I went and did that. And after that, I saw there's a new program called Outdoor Rec that opened up. I'm like, that sounds fun. Like, I like being outdoors. My buddies were going to take it. So I was like, so might as well go enjoy the year. So I was like, that seems fun. So I went and did that. And then during that, all of my other classmates, except for one, got offered to go to skills. So I'm like, so I kind of got jealous. I'm like, hey, can I go too? And that's why it's like, yeah, let's find you an event. So I found an event, and I'm like, so we go down. After we went to Smoke and Steel, on the bus, she's like, are you nervous? I'm like, no, I'm not nervous. This is not my first time to like competitions, the FFA, and I'm like, it's all reward, no risk. So I get there, I wait an hour on my competition. The judges don't even show up. So they have to find random judges to come and do it. And then the next day they finally showed up in Boston. And they're like, here, they gave me a goodie bag, but they're like, here. And I guess no other competitors showed up too, so I automatically got gold. I
Had to get a certain score in order to earn the gold, correct? Yep.
Well, thank you, that's my story.
Thank you to those students that represented Skills USA tonight. Next up is Mrs. O'Meara. She's going to give you some exposure to the middle school chapter of Skills USA. So, Mrs. O'Meara.
Thank you. So I'm really excited for this, that they started that, because last year was our first year here at the community school doing Skills USA. The 8th grade tasked me with that. I was very nervous about it because I know nothing about that, and then I looked it up and I was like, we can handle this. So we did. We had a team of only 5 last year. This year we had a team of 4, but 1 moved, so we had 3. So I'm really excited because now I'm starting it here so we can send them up to you. And look what happens. So that's fabulous. So really this year at Skills, my students didn't place. The first year we had a bronze. And really what I found with the middle school program is it's about the story you tell. It really was it was more about the story than the actual product, because they were impressed with what people did make. We did the woodworking part, but it was more the story you told, why you did it, how you did it, and the notebooks that you had to give to them. So I know for further years, really that's what I have to work on with my students is the public speaking part, the story that you tell. because they were super impressed with that. But our kids were great and they scored in the 90s out of 100, so we didn't win, but we were small but strong. The other program that I guess I resurrected, voluntold by my daughter, who I'm going to call out, who's a senior at the high school. So she's in the Key Club. And she said, my mom will start Builders Club down at the community school because she'll do anything I say. And usually I do. So we started Builders Club again, which actually is really, really super fun. And it just really moves in again up at the high school, the Key Club. So my kids will hopefully, they really like it, move into that. And really, as the handout that Amy gave you, it's about community and community service and having the kids go out and really, we're working on a beautification project with the rec center. So when we thought, if we ever thought, we will go about and we're doing a cleanup program. We're working with the Rotary Club, because it's through Kiwanis, so we're working with the Rotary Club to do that. They have a bicycle helmet, I forget what bike rodeo, that's what it's called. So we're working together to do that in the spring. And so that's our update from the community school. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mrs. Mara, one key that it is in her handout, but I would just like to point out as well is that Caribou Community School is one of only 3 middle school Skills USA chapters in the state of Maine. And so that's pretty impressive to come from northern Maine and travel to Bangor for competitions and be represented. And so thank you, Mrs. O'Mara, for starting that chapter at Caribou Community School. That's pretty impressive.
Last year, Amy was the advisor.
And she was the advisor of the year for the middle school last year. Every year, Skills USA chooses a high school, college, and middle school advisor of the year. And so yes, Mrs. O'Mara was that selection last year. And so that was a great thing and a great honor. So congratulations to you for that. Next, we're going to hear from FFA. So I'll invite Megan and Kaden and Ian and Lane to join me, please.
My name is Megan Martin. I am the Caribou FFA Vice President. So the Caribou FFA is a student-led organization that practices leadership, responsibility, and communication skills. To start the year, we attended an all-members workshop at the University of Maine at Unbe. Here we practice team-building skills, leadership skills, and parliamentary procedure. Along with other members from the Aroostook County, from them we prepare for our state competition events that are held in Orono, Maine. Here we compete in multiple hands-on and public speaking events. If you and your team place first in these events, you have the opportunity to compete at the Big E Fair and Nationals, which Kaden will talk more about.
So after, like Megan said, after state competition, you have the chance to compete at the Big E Fair or Nationals. The Big E Fair is in Springfield, Massachusetts, and here you compete at a higher level than states to prepare yourself for nationals. Nationals is held in Indianapolis, Indiana. You compete against 85,000 other FFA members from across the United States. To raise money for the opportunity to get to go to states, the Big E, and for the travel expenses and everything like that, we harvest and plant potatoes on our school farm. We grow about 15 acres of caribou russets from across plant. We also grow other fresh produce and sell it at our school stand. At the end of the year, to kind of close things out, we host a benefit supper for our sponsors and supporters at the Caribou High School, and we also do a gift raffle to show our appreciation for them. And Ian?
My name is Ian Russell, and I only joined FFA this year, but I started as a freshman in the tech center, taking exploratory to those guys, and it really set me up to determine exactly what I wanted to take the next 4 years of high school. And this year I'm doubling down in welding and ag, so I'm up there all day and I love it. But I went to nationals as a fill-in. Never even was an FFA, and I figured I might as well go. Good experience. And I think I had the most fun there I've had in the tech center. all 4 years. It was just a really great experience.
So I'm just going to pause for a minute. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention here tonight that just last week on Friday, we announced as a tech center that Ian Russell was selected as our Student of the Year. And so he will be representing Caribou Tech Center at the statewide banquet that we have coming up next month. And so congratulations to you, Ian, as being that selection for Caribou Tech. We are proud of everything that you do and all that you've accomplished during your time with us. So congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lane Carmichael. So these are your chapter officers for Caribou. I'm honored to serve as this year's main state vice president for the FFA. As many of you may have heard of the FFA years back, it's deep in our roots, deep in our community. And what you guys stand for and what these members stand for is much of the same with myself. To me, joining FFA as a freshman in high school, I didn't know that my career path would take me down that road. FFA, not only the opportunities of scholarship that each of these members have the opportunity to receive, but the opportunity to meet new people. You name a state, I could name a person that I've met, that I've made a connection with. And each of these people here today can say, look, I'm going to get out of it what I put in. Whatever they choose to do, whatever opportunity they choose to seize, they're going to get something out of it. And the national FFA on a national level, it's invaluable. The connections, the opportunities that you'll make, and the people that you'll meet. And I thank you guys for the support, because especially where we are in Maine, as a smaller FFA association and an organization of over 1 million members, we still show up each year because of our community support and you guys. So thank you.
Thank you, Lane. So our chapter is led by the very humble Mr. Moore. So I don't know, Mr. Moore, if you have some other remarks that you would like to make?
Just like to thank you guys for letting us come. I was only going to invite the chapter officers, but I threw it out to the whole chapter, and we kind of bombarded the place. I keep telling everybody, they all dress up, they clean up nice. But I was going to say something, I forgot. Put me on the spot. When I started 9 years ago, I think we had 3 or 4 members in the chapter. Right now, we're up to, I think, 22 or 23 members. And every year it seems to keep growing, and we got a darn good bunch of kids that represent us. But I want to thank you guys.
And thank you, Mr. Moore, for leading that organization. It's
Yes.
impressive, the work that you do with our students.
I want to thank the kids too. We got some more that didn't show up. They had sports and jobs, but I want to thank you guys for doing this for us tonight.
So moving on to NTHS, I'll invite Mrs. Boaz to come up and give an update on National Technical Honor Society and Bridge Academy.
Am I concluding us?
You're not.
Oh, I'm not, okay. I was thinking I might be what's standing in the way of our students being able to go home and do their homework.
I did say to Mr. Bouchard when he walked in this evening, I said, all of these kids are planning to speak tonight. And so I kind of wish that today was April 1st, but.
So I unfortunately don't have any students to stand up here and speak with me, because the 2 organizations that I want to talk to you about tonight are one that we're just implementing this year, which is National Technical Honor Society, and the next one I'm going to speak about is the Bridge Academy, which is a grant we're currently writing that will go into next year. So starting out with NTHS, I believe that you all had this flyer in your packet. I just wanted to give you a quick glance of where we've been and where we're going and what our timeline is for throughout the year. So we actually filed for a chapter. One of my former coworkers, a former instructor at the Tech Center, filed for a chapter back in 2018. And I remember I worked alongside him. I really wanted NTHS to come along. And we as a staff kind of really struggled with the national criteria to join NTHS, because the national criteria is that the Tech Center can select a minimum of a 3.0 in either CTE courses or overall GPA. However, a minimum of 3.0 in CTE courses is like 80% of our population. So we wanted to be more stringent, which the national organization allows us to be, by adding whatever kind of extra criteria we have, whether it be faculty nominations or attendance. So we struggled with that at the time, and then COVID hit. So our chapter has sat dormant for 6 years. So when I reached out to nationals this year to see if we could resurrect NTHS, they were like, absolutely, you already have a chapter and it's number 3474. So by default, I'm the advisor for this year. There is no budget for this. So I'm just kind of taking it on to see if I can get it up off the ground. So on the timeline there, the faculty met and we kind of went back and forth about that criteria. We ended up settling on, we want our students to have a CTE GPA of a 93 or higher. Okay, so that limited us down to about now 70% of our population or 60% of our population. And then we added in attendance because we consider ourselves to be like a work-ready institution. So showing up to work every day is super important to us. So another criteria we set is that a student can't have missed any more than 5% of the year. So they have a 95% attendance rate. At those two criteria and the faculty nomination and the school endorsement as well, because we know sometimes kids can be excellent with us, but not so excellent back at their high school. And we certainly want them to be a good representation of Caribou Tech if they're wearing an NTHS cord. So along with that, we ended up getting somewhere around 45 students qualify for NTHS at Caribou Tech. Our population is around 200, so we're hovering now around 25% with that criteria. So I think we are on the right track. However, we had to wait until semester 1 closed out and so that we could pull that attendance and the GPA. Once that closed out, then we moved over to faculty nominations because certainly students could meet that criteria, but perhaps maybe they wouldn't have been endorsed by their faculty member. Once we got the faculty nominations back, we went to the schools to say, you okay with all these students? And now we're at the point of going in front of the selection committee, which I expect to happen within the next week, and for NTHS nomination letters to go out into the mail. With that, I anticipate that an induction will happen. An induction ceremony should probably happen either right after April break or the beginning of May. So yes, for this year's seniors, it's basically accolades and them being able to help us out with some end of the year wrap up work that we have to do. There are 4 pillars of NTHS, and this is how I would like to foster the leadership of our NTHS candidates. The 4 pillars are career development, leadership, service, and recognition. And so I provided on the handout some examples of what those students could be engaged in throughout the year. So this would be a tremendous benefit to the Tech Center to have the NTHS committees working on this work alongside us. We have consulted with all of our high schools at this point to talk about graduation regalia, and we have settled on a compromise that works for everybody, which is for our students to be able to wear an NTHS cord, with the exception of one of our partner schools who does not allow any additional kind of stuff, but they will allow us to embroider that school's graduation stole with the NTHS embroidery on it. So we're very happy with that compromise. There are a couple of endorsements that students can pick up through NTHS. One is the LAPSN endorsement, so that is for our law and public safety programs. We have 3 of those: fire science, EMS, and criminal justice. So our students who are in those 3 programs who meet some additional criteria, because for the last endorsement, you can't have had a disciplinary action against you in the past year, and you have to have a minimum academic overall GPA. So for that endorsement, we might have some students who have some medallions that they would be able to don with that as well. There's a little picture of that. We also have the option of an ASE endorsement, so that's Automotive Service Excellence endorsement. So that would be mainly for our students who are in our auto tech or auto collision programs. However, we could potentially loosely relate that to our large equipment program as well if students are looking at picking up an ASE certification in diesel hydraulics. For criteria for that, they do have to pass at least one ASE student certification exam. So that is pretty exciting. Like I said, we're building the plane while we're flying it, but we're hoping to get it off the ground. And the nice thing about this is that the fees for NTHS are lifetime. So out of those students that I said, like about 45 students who might be eligible for it, about half of those will be graduating this year, but another half of them will be returning next year. So I expect to come into next fall already having NTHS members who can help us right off the bat. There are some other benefits of being part of NTHS for our students, access to additional scholarships. They get a membership kit, and they have access to partner discounts. And then they can also request from the national office to have letters of recommendation.
Tracy, good question for you.
Yes.
So out of the eligible students, those that make it onto the, your tech center, National Honor Society, how many are dual from their high schools?
What do you mean? Oh, that they're also in their NHS at their high school. Yeah, I'm not certain of that. I would only have anecdotal information just from
50%
following high
more?
schools.
50% less?
I would say that and I'm just ballparking here. I would say maybe out of those 45 candidates that probably 20 are also in their NHS at their school. And I would definitely say that, if there is 20 and then there's 25 who aren't, that they probably didn't qualify for NHS at their school. So remember, Nationals allows us to set our criteria as a 3.0 for either a CTE specific grade or overall. Yeah, so that's totally possible that they didn't qualify or didn't want to belong to NHS at their partner school.
And it is very possible that they don't want to belong to the National Technical Honor Society as well. Once those letters go home, the students will have the opportunity to apply or not.
Because quite truthfully, I plan to make them work. So within these 4 committees, this is how I would like to structure the leadership for them. Because I think it makes sense. If you look at the 4 pillars of NTHS, this is kind of what Caribou Tech Center stands for. If you look at career development, our staff spends a ton of time working on mock interviews and setting that up. We spend a ton of time on Plan Your Future Day, that big event. So if I had students who could engage in that and help us out with it, I think that would be not only a meaningful learning experience for them, but also would be a big leg up for Caribou Tech Center staff. Any other questions on NTHS? Okay to go on to Bridge Academy while I'm up here? Okay. So Bridge Academy is kind of the blue flyer that I put together, just a quick little fact sheet. So this is not currently in place. This is, I'm right now in the middle of the grant application process. So Bridge Academy, in a nutshell, is specifically for CTE students. That's what the grant is for. And it is to help those students who are rising juniors and seniors, so it follows them for those 2 years and then into their post-secondary plans. It helps to bridge that academic gap for them. So one of the requirements of Bridge Academy, I'm specifically talking about the class of 2027 here, our current sophomores, so our rising juniors are who we'll be targeting for next year to come into Bridge. So one of the requirements for them is that over their junior and senior year, they gain 24 meaningful and intentional college credits while they're in school. That can be a mixture of their CTE programming. It could be concurrent enrollments at their high school, or it could be the old-fashioned traditional college courses that students took many years ago. It can be any combination of those. But the goal of it is for it to be transferable and into their career pathway. So I know you folks are probably very well versed in the fact that when we opened Pandora's box on concurrent enrollment and early college access, that a lot of students were taking classes just because they were there and they could get the free college credits, and then someday they end up on a college campus and they realize that they're not necessarily as transferable or as applicable as they thought that they were. That's one of the benefits of the Bridge Academy. Another benefit is that they have summer and winter academies for students to attend. So the best way I can kind of relate this is if you think about Upward Bound. Upward Bound has a summer component where students live on the UMPI campus throughout the summer. With the Bridge Academy, it's a shortened event. It's either a 2-day for our rising juniors or it's a 3-day event for our rising seniors, where they go to typically a main community college campus and spend some time there working on leadership, working on some targeted advising in their career path, some career development skills, professional development for them. So there are a lot of benefits. One of the big benefits, and I'm not sure if you guys got the priority notice that came out in February from the DOE, indicating that they are now capping early college credits. There's a lifetime cap for this specific class. It starts with our current sophomores of 18 credits. So that's a really big deal. When we have a lot of kids that are graduating from Carroll High School, let's say with maybe 30, and both of my kids graduated with like 30 something credits from Carroll High School. So this is kind of a landscape changer. For students who are enrolled in Bridge Academy, they can get up to 24 free college credits. So it's an extra 6 college credits. And then in addition to that, there's 3 taps of like money that they can kind of tap into if they need extra money to help out. That is part of our Bridge Academy grant. So on this form, it says on the bottom that my Bridge Academy team has recommended that we file for this year's grant at $38,500. I just checked my email before I got here, and they are now proposing $42,000. So out of that, just to give you a couple examples of how that money gets spent, they're earmarking $3,000 for books and materials. So if my kids want to take a technical math class at Carroll High School or wherever it might be, I can now tap into this money through Bridge Academy to pay for their textbooks or their online access. So that can actually get to be pretty expensive. I can also tap in at $5,000 worth of tuition per year to help them out with it. Next year, my grant will double because I'll have 2 grade levels. I'll have my rising juniors plus my rising seniors who were in the program the year before. So that is pretty exciting. Another big benefit, and this is income-based, so it's based upon the family's income. But students in the Bridge Academy who graduate from high school and go on to post-secondary can be eligible for up to $10,000 worth of scholarship money that is renewable up to 6 years. So with Bridge Academy, they're not just targeting, students who want to go get an associate's degree or certificate program at the Maine Community College, but they're also working with the whole University of Maine system. So they have students who are going on for 4-year degrees, and that Bridge Academy scholarship can even follow them into graduate school if that's how they choose to spend that $10,000 annually. So really big benefit for our students. I'm really excited to be able to join them. We will be the 8th CTE center out of the 27 in the state of Maine who are Bridge Academy school. This is a program that has been around. Dave's probably familiar with that for, maybe the past decade or so. And thankfully, Amy gave our staff the opportunity on one of our teacher workshop days to go visit another tech center or region. And we went down to Region 2, and that was where I really sat down and talked to the person in my role down there and learned about the benefits of Bridge Academy, because Region 2 has been part of a Bridge Academy partnership for a number of years. And when I came back from that professional development opportunity, I immediately got on the email and said, hey, how can I be part of this? And so over the course of this year, I've been partnering with them. And now that the grant is finally out, we get to submit that in mid-April, and I should be able to find out about the grant towards the end of this school year. Yes, that does, for the inaugural year, change the timeline just a little bit. I won't be able to recruit those rising juniors until over the summer and right at the beginning of the school year, which means that my rising juniors will miss out on summer academy. But Bridge Academy has already promised that they will partner with me in Region 2 to offer a fall academy experience for those students. So we'll play a little bit of catch up on that. So this time next year, hopefully I can have some NTHS students and some Bridge Academy students who are here to speak to you as well.
Tracy, is there any DOL money for Bridge Academy students?
What do you mean by that?
They had a program where they were able to fund students through their junior, senior year, and it followed them on to post-secondary.
Yeah, it's my understanding that that is where this is coming from, because
Scholarships?
Yeah, because they, so our Bridge Academy team explained to me that there's like 3 different pots of money that they can tap into. So they have that $10,000 annual scholarship that is merit-based, and then they have a little bit of Bridge Academy money that we can tap into, and then we have the money that they've set aside and earmarked through our actual grant, our annual grant that we receive. And then they get the extra 6 credits, so we have that as well. You also made me think about something. Part of that budget that our Bridge Academy team has put together is some money that they built in. It's $3,000 for our internship and job shadow experiences. So, but I'm not specific though. I'm not actually certain how much of that comes from the DOL. Was Bridge Academy there when you were at Region 2? Yeah. You brought it on board?
I did.
And your experience was positive,
It was.
Sure. Yeah.
It was.
yeah, it sounds like it's a really great program. And so that's just something I'm going to be learning about more as we get into next year, but hopefully I'll be welcoming in, I'm hoping to fill the program with 20 students. And when we think about our rising juniors and seniors having 24 credits, I know that seems like a very large feat. But if you take somebody who comes through my fire science program as a junior, that's 6 college credits. Let's say they want to do EMS the next year because that's a good pairing, that's another 6 college credits. So that's 12 out of the 24 right there. And then they pick up an English comp through concurrent enrollment at their high school and maybe a technical math with me or at their high school. We're getting there pretty quickly. Any other questions for me?
So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Boaz. So all of those things that we've presented tonight all come together when we start talking about JMG and providing students opportunities that help them be successful when they leave Caribou Tech Center. So I do have, last but certainly not least, Mrs. Gorno is here as our JMG specialist with a couple of students, Noah and Josh, so feel free to come up.
Before you start and everyone leaves, thank you so much for coming. We're all very proud of all of your accomplishments in representing the district very well. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Sorry, Renee.
Bring home the gold.
Will do.
So my name is Renee Gorno. I'm the JMG specialist at Caribou Tech. I've been at the Caribou Tech Center for 4 years now, and I have the honor to work with the majority of the students at Caribou Tech. One of the things I do with our students is I provide them the skills that they need for the workforce. So every year we get them out there with the employers with mock interviews. We set them up with cover letters, resumes. We do research on companies, and we also practice the interviewing skills as well. On top of that, I work with the students on internships, externships, job shadows, and there is a handout in your packet, and I kind of outline some of the things that I do at Caribou Tech. 90% of our students receive JMG services. Over 176 students receive $500 for the main career exploration badge, which is also known as the MCEB, which allowed them to enter the workforce and gain 40 hours of meaningful work experience. Caribou Tech has the highest MCEB completed in the state of Maine. We have students who have completed internships, as I mentioned, with our local employers, which align with their future aspirations. Caribou Tech is also the model for other JMG programs throughout the state. We were one of 3 programs that started 4 years ago. Now there's 8 tech programs throughout the state. Last year, we had over 150 students who received mock interviews with local employers throughout the county. This year, we're changing things up. We have over 150 students who are going through mock interviews, but instead of the employers coming to us, we're taking the students to the employers. So last week, we took the students to the city office and they were in the chambers while they did their mock interviews. We had students out at the Caribou Rec where Easton and Caribou Rec directors met with the students. Caribou Fire Station with the EMS students, Prescott Fire Station with our fire science students. And this year, we're still hitting the road running with more employers. Every student at Caribou Tech that have done mock interviews leave with a cover letter, a resume, a job application, and more knowledge about the company. And they also understand how to read job descriptions and how to apply that to their interviews. Something new this year is that I was asked to pilot the new micro-credential framework with JMG. We are one of 6 piloters in the state to pilot the career readiness program and one of the 4 to pilot the leadership development program. I'm hoping that I have been doing this with the criminal justice program at Caribou Tech. I hope to come in May to share more information with you guys. And then finally, JMG serves all grade students as well at the middle school. And we use our Caribou Tech staff as well as employers to come in and meet with the 8th graders that align with the 16 grade clusters. And now I would like to invite two students that have been taking JMG at Caribou Tech so they can share their experience.
Hello, my name is Noah Collins. I'm a senior at Caribou High School, and I'm currently enrolled in the criminal justice program at the Caribou Tech Center. The mock interviews with Ms. Guarno and the JMG program at the Caribou Tech Center were super beneficial. They allowed us to practice our interview skills in a safe environment, receive valuable feedback, and build our confidence. This experience has prepared us for the workforce and helped us feel more prepared to meet potential employers. To prepare for the mock interviews, we researched local law enforcement agencies, reviewed job descriptions, tailored cover letters, and completed resumes. We were able to put our interviewing skills to practice at the Caribou City Chambers, where 4 people asked us questions. We were also dressed for success. Overall, I felt that the experience was beneficial in being able to talk in front of a crowd, gain confidence, and get valuable feedback about my interview skills for my future career in law enforcement. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josh Pitt, and I'm a senior at Caribou High School and enrolled in the criminal justice and residential carpentry programs at Caribou Tech. Tonight, I want to share how beneficial the mock interviews have been for us as students at Caribou Tech Center, especially through our work with Ms. Guarno in the JMG program. Participating in mock interviews has been an eye-opening experience. They provide a safe space for us to practice our interviewing skills, allowing us to gain confidence and receive valuable feedback. Ms. Guarno has been instrumental in guiding us through this process, helping us understand what employers are looking for and how to present ourselves professionally. These mock interviews have improved our communication skills and taught us how to handle difficult questions and think on our feet. The experience has made us more prepared for the workforce, giving us a competitive edge as we pursue our careers. Overall, the support from Ms. Guarno and the JMG program has been invaluable, and I believe it sets us up for success in our future endeavors. Thank you.
So that's what we have for an update for all of our extracurricular opportunities that we have at Caribou Tech Center. I would just like to recognize a couple of other staff members here tonight. Mr. Turner is our auto body instructor, and we also have with us tonight Ms. Baker, who teaches outdoor rec and criminal justice. So thank you, staff, for being here tonight and supporting our students and what they are trying to share forward tonight, and for other staff as well. I appreciate you being here. So thank you for your time and attention tonight. As you can see, there are a lot of exciting things that we're doing to benefit students by providing them opportunities to participate and, change the world around them. So thank you for being a captive audience. And thank you, Caribou Tech, for everything. Good job. And Miss Penny here was one of our great hosts last week for our mock interviews. She stepped up big time to assist. We had some judges that unfortunately didn't make the interviews, and so she put some fast moves and got some of her staff to step up to the plate. So you're very much appreciated for your efforts for our students. So thank you. We're happy to do it. I think that kind of cleared things out here a little bit. Everybody else can sit now.
Another big thank you. Thank you, Ms. White. 7.0 old business. I don't believe we have anything. And nothing for 8.0 new business. And that moves us right to 9.0 superintendent report.
No resignations, no retirements, no transfers at this time, but new hires. We have Samantha Swallow. We'd like to recommend her for a math teacher at Caribou High School. She has some experience as a teacher. She's also certified. She's certified in science as well as a science teacher. And she's looking forward to joining us. And if you approve, she would be ready to start with us after April vacation.
Is she working at another school right now?
She is not. She was for a period of time, but had a baby and difficulty finding daycare, and now
That's the story.
has that all sorted out. And so she's got a good daycare and ready to come come to work.
I'd like to make a motion for her hire.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
Coming back, teacher.
Yes, it's very exciting.
Next, PJ Gorno, cross-country coach for Caribou High School, will be a new position for him. Jesse Sandstrom, track and field head coach for Caribou High School, and Greg Spelta, a cook for the Caribou Community School.
Thank you. And 9.5, monthly profile update.
Yep, you should have a copy of the monthly profiles. I shared it with you for the first time. So you'll see all of the schools are in one packet. All the administrators and leadership have gone in and updated some information. It's not new. For example, the number of students enrolled in some courses, because it doesn't change every month necessarily. So you'll see that remains the same, but it kind of gives you an idea of some of the behavior referrals and some of the attendance, and looks at our numbers of students in grade levels and courses. So like I said, my plan is to once again just provide this to you each month, adding the updated information. And then probably June or July, I'll be asking you if this is something you find to be valuable at all, and we can continue it for next year, or if you find that it's not really useful information for you. But just to kind of keep you informed of what's happening in the school.
I've got a quick question, Jamie, about anyone that doesn't matter. Say just discipline that shot up. Was there a reason behind that? I mean, did we have a coup?
It's March.
It's March.
End of story. Between February and April break.
Oh, really? So that's a normal.
As we continue this, and if we continue this, my professional guess will be you will see that every year, as any educator will probably agree that this is the hardest month out of the year.
That's what I was thinking too.
It was February break, April break.
Yep, that March month, or, periods of time before vacations are the other one where they're not monthly related per se, but that's where you'll see it pick up.
And we did
just popped right up.
We did talk about how it will be beneficial if we continue this to start to compare the years, to see trends, patterns or trends such as that. I don't know if we can fix it all, but it might help us to say, what could we do to potentially?
Well, part of the discussion last time, I think, was to compare attendance with behavior, and it looked like it was holding its own, and then all of a sudden, okay.
So that's just for informational purposes. If you have any questions, please let me know. Or if there's anything else you'd like to see added, once again, that we're not in there, we're just randomly starting with this to see if it's helpful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything for 10 enclosures?
You just got it.
Yep. 11, other matters. We'll start with Dave. Any other matters? Lou?
I'm good.
Ms. Nicole? None. Okay. And 12.0, executive session. I motion to move into executive session to discuss contract negotiations pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056D.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. If anyone's here who's going to be coming to the budget meeting, this won't be a long executive session, so just please hang out in the hall and it'll be just a few moments. Thank you.